Ah yes, the great Yan. A country rich with history. In the past, the Emperor of Yan, a true Ling, embarked on a grand quest to hunt every godlike being in Yan. Surprisingly, Sui, a godlike being, or a Firanmut as what they officially called, helped the Emperor on this wild hunt and betrayed his kin. In the end, many of the Firanmut and the Emperor's army were slain. Those Firanmut who survived went into hiding, dispersing their powers across Terra, and secretly living alongside human. While for Sui he scattered himself into 12 fragments of different personalities that later become what we know today as the Nian siblings. And in this Invitation to Wine event, we will continue the story of Nian, reuniting her other siblings, and we will see more about the country of Yan. Although the game didn't explicitly give the date of the event, but Invitation to Wine occurred few days after Hua's real event. Should be around the year of 1099 or above. Speculated from some story information in this event, like Victoria incident, and one of Lithuanian twin empress lost her voice. The story starts with Mr. Li, a private investigator from his own detective agency. Li was tasked by the magistrate of the Shangshu city and also his old friend, Liang Xin, to retrieve a certain goblet from the smuggler hand in Lungmen and bring it back to him. Li successfully acquired the goblet, and under Liang's instructions, Li goes to Shangshu and meet with Master Shen, a boatman that will guide him in the city and take him to Liang's estate. Li and the boatman arrived early, so they stopped by at the local inn first. Meanwhile, Mr. Nothing and the benefactor Kroos also arrived at Shangshu. They're going to meet with Nian and Dusk later before searching for Ling. While Lava got a sudden commission and must split, but she will inform the nearest Rhodes Island branch office for backup. The duo then take a moment to admire the city, a majestic nomadic city, where the people managed to relocate its iconic mountains onto mobile platforms. Kroos and Nothing then goes to the same inn where Li currently is. Then out of nowhere, a young girl called Miss Du confronts Mr. Nothing. She was looking for someone just like him. After roasting his drip outfit and kicking a chair to him, she realized she got the wrong person and was actually looking for Li. She sees Li upstairs and demands Li to hand the wine cup over. Li refuses of course, and since Kroos and Mr. Nothing know that Li is a Rhodes Island business partner, Kroos helped Li and the boatman get away from the inn, while Mr. Nothing stay back to hold Miss Du and her man. But later, the innkeeper Zeng, who turns out to be Du's adoptive father, and the director of an escort security association, came in to stop the fighting and let Mr. Nothing leave. The innkeep also got a mission to take the goblet from a mysterious client, but now isn't the right time, and scold Du for not knowing what she is dragging herself into. Later the boatman takes Li and the Rhodes Islander to meet Magistrate Liang. Along the way, Li keeps seeing an image of mountain summit and a pavilion, and he feels there's some weird animals lurking in the dark. After arriving and meeting Liang, Li talks about what happened at the inn, and Rhodes Islander are welcome to stay. Li and Liang talks about all sorts of things, as the old pals haven't met in 10 years. One interesting thing is that Li talks about waifu who had graduated from university, and ask Liang to look for any information about her missing father. Li also talk about the rumor of the goblet, that it can turn surrounding objects into a living being, and tease Liang because he's still maidenless despite being the head of the city. But later a beautiful woman and Liang co-worker, Miss Ning, came in to talk. Seeing a spark between the two, Li heads to his room to rest. Meanwhile, Nothing and Kroos are trying to bait the attacker from the inn, but surprisingly they run into Yan official instead called Tehu, more or less a very important official that we first see in chapter 6. He asks the Rhodes Islander what are they doing in the city, and about Dusk that leave the mountain, and why Rhodes Island is involved. Then a young man called Suo came in to de-escalate things. He said he is a Yan court messenger, and advise Kroos and Mr. Nothing to not getting too involved in Nian's affairs. Shifting back to Liang's estate, Li find Mr. in his room. Turns out Zeng was tasked by a royal court member to retrieve the goblet. And the innkeep tasked little Missy over here to retrieve the goblet in his stead. In order to prove herself, and inherit her father's whole inn and restaurant business. But what do want is her father's escort association. Turns out Mr. Zeng wanted to close his escort security business. The youth apprentice including Du doesn't like how the old generation manage the association. With her father now wanted to stop the escort association. She intentionally make a mess, not letting her father get the goblet, and later establish her own organization with a younger generation. Therefore, Du asks Li's help to make sure the cup won't fall into her father. And she will guarantee Li's safety until he make it back to Lungmen. Du then leave, while Li goes to sleep. Li had a very weird dream, where he is at the mysterious Qijan mountain peak. In the dream he is possessed by someone, and meet with Ling. Suddenly Li is awakened by Liang. Apparently a thief made it to steal the cup from Liang's estate. But turns out what the thief stole is a fake wine cup. The real one is with Li all the time. On the other side, turns out Zeng and Suo are the one who stole the goblet. And Suo is the client who tasked Zeng to retrieve the goblet from the beginning. Suo is actually a member of Sui Regulator, that was founded to supervise the siblings. Zeng tells a story, years ago that he and his escort association, were tasked to deliver the real goblet. But a misfortune falls upon them. Leading to him losing many of his men, and the goblet that they were transported. Back to Li, he got a new task from Liang to find the cup's master. Liang wanted to use this opportunity to find Ling. And hope she can handle all the conflicts that will, or already happened. She is likely to be in a mountain peak with a pavilion that Li dreamt about. So Li start his detective work, guided by Master Shen. While the cup is kept in Liang's estate. Later, Taihu meet with Liang. And revealed that he and Suo had been working together with Liang. The original plan was that Liang fake the theft of the goblet. And secretly giving it to Suo, in order to fool a certain faction. Sui Regulator is a faction to supervise the siblings. Under supervision of Yan Ministry of Rights. Thing is, Sui Regulator have a secret duty ordered by the Grand Tutor of Yan. To subjugate or eliminate the siblings if they are out of control. And with 3 of the siblings going to meet, things are getting really tense. This duty doesn't have a permission from the Ministry of Rights, nor the Emperor. As it seems the Ministry of Rights and the Emperor are looking for a way to use the siblings' powers. Liang doesn't fully support Sui Regulator or Ministry of Rights in this. What's important for him is the safety of Shangshu. On other side, Kroos and Nothing still waiting for Dusk and Nian. One of Dusk's ink spirit approached them and bites Mr. Nothing. Which transport them into Dusk painted world and meet her. Both sister run into a trouble. It appears Teen Shibai, one of Lazy Master, and guy so powerful he can suppress Dusk and Nian. But for now he will only keep an eye on the siblings. Then Kroos and Nothing explained about the Yan official, and about the goblet. Dusk tell them to find Ling and ask her to help them. And don't let the Sui Regulator get her first. Back to Li and the boatman, Li asks for the help of a pole carrier. To look for a summit with a pavilion, and popular wine shop at the mountain. Back to the city, Chinese Faust meet with Kroos and Nothing for a discussion. As Rhodes Island is getting too involved, Suo would like Kroos to do him a favor. Or else they will be viewed as an enemy. He tells Kroos about the wine cup, and what it has to do with Sui. One of the 12 siblings, the second brother to be exact, split his consciousness into 181 ghost stones. And one of it merged with the goblet that was brought by Li. So Suo wants Kroos to persuade Li to hand over the wine cup. Later, Li's search turns out to be fruitless and goes back to meet Liang. Liang haven't told Li everything in order to not drag him too deep into this mess. The two friends then had a drink, and Li falls to sleep. In his dream, the Sui second brother who is using Li as his image. is playing a Chinese Go with Ling. The brother said he is bored with the peaceful era of Nian and wanted to make some kind of game. Ling then makes Lee realize that he isn't Lee in the dream, but someone else. Ling said that Lee is holding one of his brother pieces and asks if Lee will be playing in his stead. And she wonders why would her brother drag Lee and many others into this. Lee then awakened by the commotion outside of the estate. A Rimbilitan bounty hunter called Blacknight had stolen the wine cup. Miss Duan Lee confronts her, but managed to escape by the help of her slumberfoot. On the other side, after meeting with Tuo, Kroos and Nothing encountered those that are called as the Weregeist. Objects that turns into a sentient being because of the goblet influence. Meanwhile, Lee asks Liang about the stolen goblet, and he seems to know this whole thing would happen. Miss Du and Lee then works together to find this Blacknight. Du is afraid that things will get out of hand with unknown party now steal the goblet. Before leaving, Lee writes a letter for Kroos and Nothing, and left it in his room. Not long after, they goes to see Lee in his room, and find the letter. Lee told them about the stolen goblet, and instructed them to find Shen who will take them to the mountain. Blacknight is apparently at the mountain, and she encountered innkeeper Zeng, who is waiting for Blacknight, and take the goblet from her by force. Despite his age, Zeng managed to overcome Blacknight and her slumberfoot. But during their fight, a pole carrier from earlier called Shen interrupt them, and his main target is Master Zeng. It's revealed that Shang and his son were once a member of Escort Association. His son also partake to transport the goblet years ago along with Zeng. His son got killed in the incident, and Zeng failed to protect the goblet. And not long after that incident, Zeng started his restaurant and in business, which makes Sheng blamed him for his son's death and incompetence. Sheng then unexpectedly takes the cup from Blacknight and tells Blacknight to leave as this is no longer her problem. Sheng demands Zeng to get his sword and meet him at Qjiang Peak for a duel, if Zeng wants to take the goblet, or else he will bury it beside his son's grave. The pole carrier goes to finish his remaining work, and stopping by at a tea shop. Lee and Du are also there, and realize he was carrying the goblet on his belt. But Lee suggests it's better to wait and see, while enjoying some tea and noodles. Shifting to Kroos and Shen. Kroos asked why Lee wanted them to meet him at the Qjiang Peak. Shen replied that Changshu was once hit by catastrophe 30 years ago. But miraculously the catastrophe stopped without harming anyone. And one of the two mountain peak of Qjiang disappeared without a trace. And Lee said that he had a dream that seems to guide him to that place. They then meet Blacknight, apparently trying to tame a Weregeist. Kroos talked to her in an all Aussie style, and said that the Weregeist is not ordinary animal that she can tame. Blacknight is disappointed, but happy to see her fellow countryman in Changshu. And then both sides goes to a different way. Back at Liang's estate, Liang meet with Miss Ning. It is revealed that Miss Ning is the one who ordered Blacknight, and is a high-ranking official from Ministry of Rights. She's aware of the whole situation, and both talks about everything that had happened. At the mountain peak, we see Zeng and Sheng on a duel. Many people came in one after another, but Sheng is persistent with his revenge. During the fight, the goblet was thrown away. Lee, Kroos and Tuo rush in to retrieve it. When they find it, Nian comes in and takes 3 of them to the hidden peak that was mysteriously disappeared years ago. Tuo interrogates Nian on Dusk and Ling's whereabouts and demands Lee to hand over the cup, as the Sui regulator thinks it's a key to uncovering the second brother's plot. It is also revealed that the second brother was once imprisoned in Yan's capital. He agreed to be imprisoned by the Grand Tutor after losing a Go match. But he is now gone, and scattered his consciousness into Go pieces. A Firanmat splitting its consciousness into different fragments, and personality like Sui is nothing new. But the second brother who is a fragment of a Sui, splitting himself in 200 of go pieces that had his consciousness, is clearly something to be worried about. Dusk comes in after she had transported others to her painting world in order to stop the commotion. Ling also shows herself, greetings her two troublesome sisters, and she can seize the second brother consciousness inside Lee. Ling speaks with the second brother, telling him that using common human as part of his game is low. After years of watching humanity, the second brother has grown to detest them, and the brother begins to laugh at Nian's overconfidence, at Dusk's timidity, at Ling's uninvolvement, and at himself for being so infallible. After that, the sisters talk some more, and even teasing Dusk with her painting world that Ling can easily control. Then Suo interfere to hand over a letter from the Grand Tutor of Yan. If 3 of the siblings ever gathered at the same place. But once they read the letter, it is a trickery from the second brother. It appears he imitate one of the missing or deceased sibling ability to write the letter. Then the sky rumbles, and the second brother creates a reflection of Sui. While Kroos, Lee and Suo are taken to a world similar like Dusk painting. And there they meet the second brother, using Lee as his image. Back to the siblings. Ling realized that the Sui they are currently facing is some kind of illusion of the 3 siblings' worries and nightmares. Ling is more aware of this illusion, and then breaks the illusion easily. And back at the second brother. He brought 2 more people into his world. Talks about all the things happening till who present, while playing Go with Lee. Ling then arrive, and confronts her big bro. She asks if the disappearance of one of their sister is the cause why he did all of this. He hesitates, and says it's irrelevant. But admire Ling as she can see through the illusion of Sui. He admitted that he had lost, and sends the humans back to the mountain. And said that he had sent Ling a gift. While for the others who were transported to Dusk painting world, they managed to break free from that place. Thanks to the Master Shen, who is revealed that he once served in the Yan army, and is an admirable kung fu master and arts user. Zheng and Shen continues their duel. But eventually they decided to stop it because of Du and Ling's presence. Back to the siblings Kroos and the others. The reflection of Sui is now gone, and Suo demands the siblings to come with Sui Regulator. In which Nian replies that they rather come to Rhodes Island for big family reunion. And suddenly, Lizzie, a central judicial officer and partner of Rhodes Island, appears to provide a solution to this situation. It seems she had convinced Tin Shibai to not use his arts at Qjiang Peak. That perhaps will destroy the mountain and surrounding area in the process. Lizzie provide assurance that Yan officials will be informed of whatever the siblings do if they are in Rhodes Island. And that the Grand Tutor of Yan is currently in the city. And would like to meet the siblings and the Yan official in this occasion. On the way, Lee asks Ling how the siblings determined who is older and younger. Ling replies within a sea of chaos, whoever first find an answer of who am I. They will exist upon the human realm first. The Grand Tutor then came to clear this whole mess. He promoted Liang for his action that managed to save the city and its people. While Miss Ning is instructed to go to the city of Human. And the Sui regulators can withhold their investigation with the 3 sisters. The Grand Tutor meet with the siblings outside. He tells them that the second brother split himself into go pieces. And spread it across the world, preparing for one big game. He will certainly show himself again, and whatever this game he's planning to do, the siblings and Yan must win. The Grand Tutor also accepted whatever Nian request such as that reuniting the siblings. In exchange she must help Yan to create weaponry and soldiers. To defend Yan northern border from demons and other outside forces. Blacknight meet with Miss Ning, and she actually got the deal from Tin Shibai. Blacknight admired the man, and then she goes to meet him with Ning. Then Lee and Kroos meet, while Mr. Nothing was sent to hospital. He stay back a lot to protect others from guys and even Nian officials. And he's not even an official operator yet. The man deserve all the respect. And then a Rhodes Islander, which turns out to be Mulberry, meet Kroos and Lee. Looks like wherever Lava currently is, she is in some sort of problem. And instructed Kroos to meet her as soon as possible. While Lee got some info about waifu father from Liang, and he's going to investigate. As for the rivalry of Sheng and Zheng, they decided to postpone it. And Du comes in telling her father that she and some of his men will go to Human. Possibly to start their new generation escort association. Ling is back to the summit once again, and received the gift from the second brother. Which turns out to be the wine cup. Ling asked to the cup, or the second brother, why drag so many people into this? The cup says it's a reminder that humans are not as pure as what Lings believe. And Ling thinks that she can't stay idle for whatever that will happens. But for now, a wine or two won't hurt. Well, that concluded the story of Invitation to Wine. I guess we'll visit Human next for the 12 siblings event. I hope this video will help you to understand the story. And make sure to leave a like, comments, and subscribe to see more of Arknight's story. That should be all. Remember, peace is always an option. Adios.